Welcome to Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom. One of North America's most appealing animals is the bobcat. This skilled predator may reach 35 pounds and 30 inches in length, and it's found in nearly all the 48 states and southernmost portions of Canada. A young bobcat remains with its mother for the first spring, summer, and autumn, and is then abandoned to fend for itself. And that's no easy job. Many other predators are in its range with which it must compete. These include the cougar, which is a much larger cat, the coyote, a very successful hunter, the badger, widely known for its ferocity, and that powerful bird of prey, the golden eagle. Our story today is about a bobcat, just 8 months old, who has been abandoned and must now rely on the hunting skills he has thus far learned. That young bobcat lives in the Canadian Rockies, here in southeastern British Columbia, which is the northernmost portion of its range. It is there that he must learn the harsh realities of survival during the first winter of the bobcat.
Bright autumn is rapidly ending. Cold winds now herald the approach of winter here in the Canadian Rockies. The young bobcat, newly on his own without his mother to help provide food for him, as she always had until now, is feeling the pangs of hunger and looking for some sort of prey. Ahead in a tree, a small screech owl, resting after his night's hunt, would be of little interest to an experienced bobcat. But the young cat is curious about the owl. Already he's learned the lesson that birds having the ability to fly are not the most simple prey to catch. The temperature is rapidly dropping, and with the frigid wind tumbling away the remaining aspen leaves, winter's first squall arrives. Ominous clouds, heavy with snow, blanket the peaks, and in its biting grasp, the wind has stolen away the autumn, and left behind its first frosting of winter's white. As swiftly as it came, the storm has ended, and the young bobcat finds himself in a remarkably different world. Excited by what has happened, his appetite has been whetted by the change. He's never before seen snow, and from his vantage point on the tree, everything that had once been familiar has become different and intriguing, increasing his inclination to explore. He'll begin his day's hunting in earnest along the creek below. With the sun again brightly shining, the nearby stream has become a deep blue necklace against the frosted breast of the earth. In the waters, which are still open and flowing, some trumpeter swans are resting. The time is soon coming when all such creeks as this in British Columbia will be frozen fast for the winter, and soon these rare and beautiful swans will migrate. Uninterested in the birds, the young bobcat is sharpening his claws, the weapons he most depends upon to grasp and securely hold his prey. That task completed, he leaves the tree and sets off to begin his hunting along the banks of the stream. Uneasy with the presence of the young bobcat nearby, the swans prefer to move away. The departure of the birds is of no interest to the young bobcat. As he tries to flush some sort of prey from the dried grasses, a gentle breeze brings a faint sound to his ears. A deer mouse has appeared, and the hunt is on at once. But seeing a mouse and catching one are two different matters, and once again the youngster's inexperience betrays him. The young bobcat, having muffed today's first real opportunity, moves off, paying no further attention to the pair of trumpeter swans still remaining at the creek. They're unobtainable, and so the cat decides to move into a territory he's never explored before, on the far side of a ravine. The terrain is not very different from that which he left behind. His keen sense of smell has caught the scent of potential prey. It's a beaver in the shallows, full grown. It's larger than any prey that the young bobcat has previously tried to catch. Despite the beaver's strong defense, the bobcat remains undaunted. The beaver is much too large for him, but the young bobcat's very hungry and just doesn't want to give up. With the beaver constantly facing him, stealth may be more effective than a frontal attack. However, the time for stealthy stalking is long since passed, and there's no way the cat can catch this beaver unawares. At last, reluctantly realizing his own inability, the young bobcat gives up and heads elsewhere to try to appease his hunger on less difficult prey.
The young bobcat has begun to realize that survival is no easy matter, and that prey, which at first looks quite simple to catch, is often not always so easy to acquire after all.
The rigors of winter will soon set in, and the young bobcat must perfect the fundamentals of survival, which he'll need to carry him through the difficult times ahead. Thus far, his hunting has been singularly unsuccessful. So, hungrier than ever, and beginning to grow a bit desperate, he continues searching and sees for the first time in his life a striped skunk casually meandering. Since it's not a particularly large animal, it might make easy prey. Immediately, he circles for an opening. His mother might have been able to kill such a skunk without problem, but the young bobcat is wholly unaware of the skunk's powerful weapon. That could be serious. The bobcat has been grazed by the skunk's spray, but fortunately for him, it has only struck his left cheek. Immediately, any thought of making the skunk his prey disappears, and his only concern is to rub away the nauseating stench. A direct hit could have blinded him. The bobcat is quick to leave to continue searching elsewhere for something to eat. An unusual occurrence off to one side makes him curious. There, an elk carcass has been claimed by a badger. He's aware of the intrusion and in no way inclined to let a young bobcat who happens along force him away. Having encountered a badger when he was a kitten, the bobcat knows it's an animal whose ferocity must be respected, but hunger makes him overcome caution. Even though he's aware that the badger is fierce enough to defy much larger predators, the bobcat can't resist the prospect of food. Learning from his mistakes, the young cat realizes how foolish and dangerous it was to try to move in on the badger's meal. In any further encounters, badgers will be studiously avoided and left to enjoy in peace whatever food they have claimed. In a short while, he has moved well away from the unpleasant situation, and at last, far ahead, he sees something he can handle, a snowshoe hare. There's only one thing wrong. The hare has seen him, too, and becomes nervous. The element of surprise has been lost, but the young bobcat still begins an approach. There's little likelihood that he'll be able to get much closer before his prey flees. The hare's reaction is immediate, but it's not badly frightened because of the distance between them. When stalking, the bobcat has to get reasonably close before making his charge if he's going to catch the snowshoe hare. But this one is taking no chances. The bobcat suddenly realizes he's unwittingly crossed a cougar's path. This is a huge female who resents the intrusion of any other animal hunting in the areas where she ranges. She is a very powerful competitor for much of the same sort of prey the bobcat eats. The smaller cat's presence here has not yet been noticed by the cougar, but as soon as she detects him, she reacts immediately. If it chose to do so, the cougar could easily climb the tree after the bobcat, but that's not necessary. The bobcat now knows that this area is not too safe for him. With the point well made, the cougar casually moves off to go about her own business. The bobcat has wisely decided to return to safer territory.
The young bobcat has now moved back toward a high valley several miles from where he encountered the cougar. And at first, things look more promising here for winter survival.
A beautiful day like this is rare in these Canadian Rockies, where winter usually comes on hard and strong. The gleaming, crisp whiteness of the snow flanks with lovely harmony the waters of brooks yet unfrozen, which the sunlight fractures into a multitude of brilliant gems. It is a fleeting time when the fun-loving otters become even more playful, taking immediate advantage of the season's first snow. As he returns the way he came through the beautiful woods, the snowy silence is broken by the haunting, somewhat eerie cry of a coyote. The ever-present beauty of this wintry woodland is somewhat offset by the reality of surviving for the bobcat and other animals here. In the weeks and months which lie ahead, survival will become ever more difficult. The bobcat, still on the alert for anything suggesting food, has discovered that there's yet another predator here, which will guard its prey fiercely from possible theft. The golden eagle. This huge bird of prey has killed a snowshoe hare, and unlike the other birds the bobcat encountered today, will not fly off at his threatening approach. The spreading of great wings, the huge hooked bill and powerful talons give the bird such a ferocious aspect that the inexperienced bobcat becomes suddenly wary. His hunger is overwhelming, and yet his determination to get a free meal is diminishing in the face of this ferocious eagle. The young bobcat is becoming frustrated at his lack of success in stealing the prey. His circling about in order to find an opening is fruitless. Whichever way he goes, the huge bird is facing him and ready every instant to fight again. Another lesson. He should have snatched up the hare and run off with it when he had the chance. But now it's too late. With direct assault failing, the young bobcat decides on one final maneuver. He'll circle widely around out of sight behind a snowy ridge and try a sudden rush. The strategy didn't work, and the only thing the young bobcat has gotten for his efforts is a fluffy bit of rabbit fur on his muzzle. There's no use in making any further attempts to steal a rabbit from this powerful golden eagle. If the young bobcat is to get a meal today, it will have to be prey he has caught himself. The bobcat, in an almost instinctive manner, takes every opportunity to survey his surroundings for movement, indicating prey. And in anticipation of that possibility, he once again carefully sharpens his claws. Having learned much today, he finally encountered the ideal prey for him, a mountain cottontail. The young bobcat has at last been successful, and if need be, he'll fight fiercely to keep the food he's caught from other predators. He has become an efficient hunter, and just in time, for now the storm clouds are closing in again. The wind is sighing through the pines once more with a song of hardships to come, bringing with it plunging temperatures and more snow. For this young bobcat, it is the beginning of a time in which it is difficult to survive, a time when snow will cloak the ground heavily for many months. But the cat will survive, as nature has provided him with this ability. For him, severe snows will quickly become a way of life during this first winter of the bobcat.
Throughout a large portion of the existing wilderness in North America, the bobcat plays an important role. As a predator, he helps enormously to keep in check mice, rabbits, and other animals. Without such control by predators, there would be population growths of the smaller animals damaging to both man and nature. The balance of nature is involved and delicately interlocking. In order for this intricate balance to be maintained, no animal which is a part of it is expendable. From the tiniest to the largest of creatures, all play major roles in sustaining the natural balance which is so necessary in the wild kingdom.